lovely people. I'm your madam for today's lesson, and my name is Dr. Elizabeth. So today we will be talking about computers. Okay, before we begin, I believe you've all seen computers, or you've come across, even if you've not seen a computer, I think you've heard of it, heard about someone talking about it. So our main topic for today is negative impact of computers and the use of computers on the environment. And note, the environment contains you and I. We are in the environment. Okay, class. Again, at the end of this lesson, learners will be able to understand what negative impact is. And again, state some negative impact of the use of computers on the environment. Okay, computers are a big part of our life these days. As I already said, they help us do a lot of things like talk to friends, watch videos, and get work done. But do you know that using computers can also hurt the environment? So that brings us back to the negative impacts of computers. So, can anyone help me define what negative impact is? I think we will get that after the lesson. Negative impacts can also be defined as, or can also mean the negative effects. When we say impact, what you are putting on something, or like the reflection of your actions on something. So the negative impact of computer is the negative reflection of the use of computers on the environment. So what do you think? What do you think about the impacts? What has computer impacted on you negatively? So I'm going to hand over to the next person to enlighten you through some negative impacts the computer has on the environment.
Okay, students, we are going to look at some of the negative impact of computers and the use of computer on the environment. Alright, so the first negative impact is energy consumption. Computers uses electricity to power or to do their operations. So it causes climate change. So when we read here, it says computers and the data centers that powers the internet use a lot of electricity, often from non-renewable sources like fossil fuel. This leads to increased greenhouse gas emissions and contribute to climate change. So as you can see at here, this chart, you can see the amount of energy that the device tablet uses. It uses 10 kilowatts per year. Then per hour every year. Then we have notebook that uses 75 kilowatts per hour every year. Then we have integrated desktops. They also use about 210. Then desktops with monitor also use 280. So as you can see in this chart, computers uses electricity a lot, and these result in climate change. The second point is e-waste. The E stands for electronic, so electronic waste. So when computers and other electronic becomes outdated or broken, they end up as electronic waste or e-waste. This e-waste can contain toxic materials like lead, mercury, cadmium, which can pollute the environment if not properly recycled or disposed of. So as you can see this with this picture, this illustration, I say what a waste. So when you use computer for some time and it gets spoiled, where we throw it away matters, because computers have some chemicals that is toxic to humans. Did you get it? All right. So I'll hand it over to the next person to continue.
Well, I'm a son, actually, Dominic. I'll continue from where we ended. Point 3, we are going to talk about resource depletion. I think we all know what resource depletion is. By this context, we are going to link it to how IT or the use of computers is depleting our resources. The manufacturing of computers requires the mining and extraction of various raw materials. As we all know, some part of the computers we need to use resources, and these resources we are going to use raw materials in doing that. Some of the raw materials that usually we use are precious metals such as aluminium, gold. We could all bear witness that the hardest part of some of the computers are basically made with aluminium. So this aluminium, in the process of extracting the aluminium, we use harmful and hazardous chemicals in extraction of these raw materials such as the aluminium. Like in mining of gold, we use what we call a mercury. Mercury is very hazardous and harmful to the human body and usually depletes the soil. So this will cause the soil to deplete and also cause damage to the environment. We can all bear witness that mining activities across the globe or illegal mining activities across the globe usually causes damage than good to our various communities. Let's move on to pollution. As we have started earlier on, you can see that pollution of computers and other electronic can generate air, or the production of other computers usually generates air, water, and pollutes the soil or the air. You could all bear with it that when you are using a certain computers, the amount of heat these computers or desktop computers produces, it's very dangerous. Usually you can use a projector for some minutes or hours. You can see that the projector will send you a signal that the projector is overheat. This clearly indicates that there is kind of pollution, but usually you won't see it when you are using the projector. You won't see it at a higher rate, but it's a gradual process that you will feel. So if you are closer to the projector, you go through a lot of things. So going through this gives us gives out hazardous chemicals and improper waste disposal. So the projector giving out the heat is not a proper way to give out the heat. So getting closer to it will maybe cause damage to you than good. So we can all bear witness from the picture shown here that indeed the pollution, the burning of the waste alone is causing air pollution. Some people too can go out there and throw their TV, their sport TV and their sport electronic equipment into the water bodies. This will cause water pollution. Some also just go anywhere and dump them. This causes soil pollution, because dumping them, for them to decay, for a computer component to decay, it takes a couple of years or time before it usually decay. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll urge you all that this thing that we are talking about is very serious. So let us be aware of it. To have more on this pollution issue, you can just visit the link below. Just visit the link below. You can see more about it. Thank you very much.
My name is Mary. I'm taking you through the lesson. As we already know more about the negative impacts of the use of computer in our society, let me quickly add few things to it. Water usage. Data centers that power the internet and the cloud computing requires a significant amount of water for cooling the equipment. This can put strains on local water resources, especially in areas with water scarcity. As you already know, due to this use of a large amount of water, it makes water shortage in certain areas. As I'm saying, Google is building underground service where they are using a lot of water. So the areas that are nearer to the data-centered area, there will be a lot of scarcity of water in that locality. Furthermore, carbon footprint. The entire life cycle of a computer, from manufacturing to use to disposal, contributes to the overall carbon footprint. This adds to the global greenhouse gas emission and exacerbates climate change. Social media, such as TikTok, generate a lot of CO2 into the atmosphere. Instagram also generates a lot of CO2, that's 0.87 G per minute. TikTok generates 1.058 of CO2 per minute into the atmosphere. As you can see, because of all these chemicals or because of all these carbons that it generates, it has depleted the ozone layer. That has caused the change of the greenhouse effects. These are the few of them that we have talked about. So learners should go and research on a lot on negative impacts of the use of the computer in our society.
Right. So throughout the lesson, we were able to identify some negative impacts of computers and the use of the computers on the environment, whereby we give some points and then some solutions that I'm about to give to the during the conclusion time that we can use to let's say reduce this negative impact on the environment. In the lesson, we state one, energy consumption, whereby computers and data centers use much electricity that generates heat in the environment, and this is then affects the living and non-living things on the environment. So we state one point as electronic waste. That's whereby these computers which have been broken down, which are not in use, proper use, where we dampen these machines, whereby these machines are put within the community where people are living. These things cause a known-way disease to the living. And the third point was resource depletion. And then pollution. This is both the air and then the water pollution, environmental degradation, and all those stuff. This is whereby people dump the damaged computers around the environment and it pollutes the environment too. We also look at water usage. That one too is one point that we study during this lesson. And we look at the fifth point as carbon footprint. This one too is one of the negative impacts on the environment. By conclusion, by being aware of this environmental impact and taking steps to reduce our computers usage, recycling old devices, that's one point. So we are giving a solution to these problems that we are facing on our environment, whereby these damaged computers are being affecting living and non-living things in the environment. We should to exercise recycle old devices within our environment. Secondly, support more sustainable technologies. Third, we can help minimize the negative effects of computers on the environment. So by doing all these things, human activities and then recycling supports more sustainable technology this will help us minimize the negative effect of computers on the environment, and this will help the environment be lively for living and non-living things. So before I close, go to the assignment section. There is an assignment there. Do the assignment and submit it latest by next week, our next class. So thank you for coming. Thank you for taking your time, go through. If you have any question, drop it at the comment section so that I will respond to you, not today or at my convenience time. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye.